Okay, welcome. Can everybody hear me? All right, great to see you guys. Sorry for the little bit of a late start. I had a pretty hectic day. I don't know if you guys are sending your little ones off to school today, but we had a big kindergarten first day today, and um, things kind of took a turn for the worse last night for me. I actually had some food poisoning last night and didn't get very much sleep, so it's just been nothing but one thing after the other. So I'm trying to catch up here. So I apologize for the late start, but I'm doing better. And my 5-year-old is off to her way at kindergarten, so that's exciting. So let's get started. You probably hear my little raspy voice. It's been a long night. Welcome, welcome. See some people coming in here. So this is week 4 for your final live lecture for this class. And we have some things to go over, just a few things to touch upon before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff. Just announcements. I posted an announcement last night about what to expect this week. Please don't forget that you're also following the principles of graphic design with every project that you guys do. Yay, Roxanne, finally week 4. Good. Changing colors from spot to process colors. How do you guys feel like you did on that? Okay, great. Yeah, learned a lot. Good. All right. Preparing a document for print through packaging. And week 4, final assessment, which you guys are going to be doing a quiz. I think this changed. So your assessment will really be your assignment. Okay, so we got some things here to go over. Don't forget, you guys, I cannot accept any late work past Saturday because it is the end of the class and grades need to be turned in as soon as possible. So make sure you're getting that in before midnight on Saturday. All right. We talked a little bit about just like a little review here. And I think this is important to talk about because, there were some issues with some of your posters and trifolds with some of you in regards to contrast. Just make sure that you are, especially with typography and logo marks, that you are giving as much contrast as you can so that type is readable. It becomes a more interesting layout as well when you have contrast. And it also depends on the project, but for readability's sake, for copy, it's super important. Repetition we talked about, and that's to elements that are used to repeat, direct, organize, and structure. This is a good thing to look at when you're working on, say, that trifold brochure. Kind of carries you along through the brochure very nicely if you have repeatable elements. The flow of the trifold. Alignment and everything that you do should be paying attention to this. Some of you guys did a great job with this. Others struggle a little bit. Maybe they had everything aligned in a certain way, but one thing was off. So, it's just one thing you kind of learn along the way. So make sure you're reading my feedback. If I did not get back to you as of yet from week 3, I do have, I believe, a handful of you I still need to evaluate for your trifold brochures. I will be doing so today and tomorrow, so just kind of hang tight. I will get back to you as soon as possible. It's just been a really crazy mod. I have a lot of sections of this class, so when I have a lot of sections on the class, I have a lot of projects to grade, which is fine, and I'm used to that. But when you have a lot of late work coming in, which some of you guys were, submitting your late work in every section, it kind of takes time from my regular grading. So I'm trying to get caught up here. But anyway, just kind of make sure that you're paying attention to the principles of graphic design in every single piece that you do, including your brochure, poster, and every project that you're working on. Proximities is clumping things together related to elements so that there are spatial relationships organized and emphasized. Your poster, for example, was a good study for this. You were given images to use, also a headline and logo, as well as body copy to formulate on your layout. So maybe you grouped the body copy with your headline so it read together, and then you spaced out other things. So there's always kind of a method behind a designer's madness. We don't just kind of freely design anything. We have rules too. So these are the principles of graphic design that we have to pay attention to. And we reviewed this too, just kind of make sure you're keeping this in mind. Appropriate fonts. Make sure you're using appropriate fonts that work for your brand and your audience, but also limit the number of fonts on your page. Keep it simple, and this is something you'll learn along the way. Limit your colors. Try to keep it within your brand colors, and make it stand out, make it different. All right, just a little review too. If you're kind of still confused about how to convert spot to process, I have a couple slides here to guide you, to clarify a little bit. So on this screenshot here, I don't know if you guys can see it really well, we are in InDesign here. And you can see in my InDesign screenshot, the swatch panel is up. So what you would want to do is go up to Window and choose Swatches if that panel is not up. And you'll see that little color swatch panel. When you create your logo, you guys were doing the aqua logo, you want to create your first 2 color and then your first 3 color for week 3 color scheme. And I showed how to do this in week 3, but just this is a little review. So if you want to create your spot color, go ahead and create your 2 colors here. So this is green and purple. Now you can see there's a regular, it currently has 2 spot colors, green and purple. So you can see in the spot color folder, they're named spot color. So you have green spot and purple spot. And they have those little dots in that square to the right of each word, each named swatch. And that's how you know that these are Pantone. Now, let's say you wanted to convert these. So you would select both the swatches. You could do a shift select in that swatch panel. And then select the swatch panel under the lines at the upper right-hand corner of that panel box. And then choose swatch options. And then you can change your spot to process in the drop-down color type menu. There's like a little drop-down menu. And you can choose from going from a spot to a process right there. So it'll go from a spot to a process. Color mode should be CMYK. And again, this is in InDesign. Notice in the swatches that the dot has been removed from the colors. So on the before picture here, little dots are showing. So if it doesn't, obviously if it's not named correctly, you would know because the little square and the dot would be in there. You would know that that's a Pantone color. And vice versa, the spot colors, even though they're in the same folder, they may not be spot colors if converted. So just check out that little square next to it just to make sure you did it correctly. You can also check to see if you did it correctly before creating a PDF. You can, in InDesign, go to Window, Output Separations Preview. If you wanted to check your own work. Window, Output Separations Preview. Sorry guys, my dog's barking. I'm not sure what he's up to. Might have to mute my mic here for a second. I guess he still wants it to be dog day. Okay, and then always check before making a PDF file for final press output. So in your separations preview that you just pulled up, you can see, there he goes, the green spot colors are shown there. So, you know, say if you thought you converted it, oh, hold on one second, guys, sorry. Okay, sorry, we'll see if that works. If you thought you converted it correctly, just check in there and see if those colors are showing still in the separations preview. If they are, then that means that they're not. Let me tell you something. He's crazy. I just threw him a bone, so hopefully he'll be quiet. You'll see it in the menu there in that piano box. If you did convert it correctly, you will see it without on the right hand side. You will not see the spot colors listed. So that's how you would kind of check it before sending your work. Any questions about that? All right, moving along. So preparing a document for print, and that's basically what we're going to be doing for your assignment 4. We'll take a close look here as well as your discussion in a minute. You're going to check the following items. Well, first of all, spell check. Super important. I was teaching another class recently that they created these portfolio booklets, and these booklets were kind of like a brand manual, and a lot of the words in there were spelled wrong. And one of the words that is primarily spelled wrong, and I see this a lot, which I probably would have done too, is the word stationery. In regards to letterhead business cards, stationery spelled with an E, not an A. I had a lot of that going on. Simple mistake, but you know, just make sure it, not only are you spell checking, because stationery could mean the same thing, you know, as far as it not catching that word, because stationary could mean you're just standing there, stationary, or stationary items, which we were trying to communicate. So just, you know, read it over and make sure everything makes sense. Check colors, you know, like we just saw there. Make sure that, you know, before sending it, that you have all the colors correct. And that could be, you know, you could be doing a web ad for somebody and you forgot to convert the images back to RGB. So that could be an issue too. So make sure you're checking the colors. You guys didn't necessarily have to worry about doing a web ad, but you know, in that instance too, you have to make sure that you're using the right color mode. Check for missing links and images within your document. And actually, it's funny that I just said that. I'm going to bring this up because I can show you an example of my own work that is showing that I'm missing. Oh, let me quit out of my mail here, guys. I don't want you guys hear my mailbox dinging. So here I am in InDesign, and I have this little question mark. You see that little question mark up there? You guys can see that. And then down here, there's like an error message here. You guys see that? Just make sure I'm sharing the right thing here. Okay. So just check to see if you have any errors, such as this. If I click on the bottom part here just to say, hey, like, what's going on? I'll say pre-flight panels. And it's going to tell me what's going on with the error. And right now it's telling me my links. I have one missing link right here. So I can, you know, there's no info there, but I can say, okay, oh yeah, that's not syncing up. You know, something's going on. I can also go to my, let's see here. Let me bring my, oops, not that. Where are we at here? All right, it's been like a crazy couple of days here, folks. I'm like trying to get back to the swing of things. Properties. If you go to your properties box, you can, you should be able to tell. I thought you were supposed to be able to tell your images in there. I thought that was going to show you your image. In any case, it doesn't. But in your pre-flight, you should be able to see what's going on. And then I would click on it. Maybe this does. Let me see if I click on it. It goes right to my... No, it doesn't in my properties. Property box is usually a good thing to have open for different things, but that's not really helping me there. I thought maybe it would show, you know, yeah, links. That's probably what I want to do. There you go, Windows links. Thank you. I was drawing a little blank there, but thank you so much, Ashley. That's where it should be. I was actually looking at in the property box, but forgot there was an actual link box too. Yes, links, very important. I think I was stuck in Illustrator mode there. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so you could see it missing here in the drop-down menu, and also you can double-click to try to find this, you know, wherever it is on your computer, you know, track it back so that you can relink it. Let's see, here is my demo. Thank you so much for helping me with that. This is sometimes that gets away from me here. I think this is the final kayak. That's what we're looking for. So you can look for the name here, and I don't know if I actually have that in here. That's probably why it's not linking. All right, so I might have to, this actually might be legitimately missing. So if that's the case, I will just have to totally reset this to the original. Now, what I would do is open this in Photoshop and just make sure these are the right color mode, dimensions, kind of how I showed you guys before. So let me go ahead and do that while we're here. And if you guys have any questions, we can go over whatever you guys have questions about. Give me 1 second. Okay, so in Photoshop, and I know you can't see what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to open up that image. Give me 1 second. It's so funny because for some reason, I can't find that image anymore. I have to download that again. Hold on 1 second, guys. I don't know why I wouldn't have that in there. It's really strange. Okay. Let me go back to the assignment because I believe that's where all of those images were given here. Let me download this again. Approved photos. Sorry, guys. Not sure what's going on there. Okay. All right, so I just re-downloaded that folder, and that's okay because I'm going to show you here something. We went over this before 2 weeks ago, but I'll just go over it again. And this is what you guys should be doing for all of your images when you do get them. Just open them up in Photoshop and make sure they're the right color mode. Yeah, see, this is... Be patient with me here. I'm trying to find the actual assessment too. For some reason, I was thinking it was week 3. Okay. My goodness. We'll get this started here. What a day it's been. All right. I was looking at week 3 for some reason. All right. I got every single photo I need now. All right. Here we go. Okay, so just open up even the images that you did in your trifold, open those up. In Photoshop, thank you. Appreciate your patience. Before you place them in there, and just take a look. And some of you guys had issues with size submitting your work. This is something that you want to make sure that you're checking so that you're placing the appropriate sizes in your documents, or else you'll have really big files. I'm just going to double click on my background layer to unlock it. And then go up to image size in Photoshop and check out what the size is here. Now my poster is probably, 11 by 17, and my resolution is perfect. So really, the size is perfect, 11 by 17, that's really cutting it close, so I'm not even gonna touch that. I'm not gonna resize it exactly, I'm just gonna leave it. And 300, that's perfect. Like, okay. Just make sure you go up to color mode, change to CMYK. And then this is what makes your file really large, is if you save it as a TIFF file. And I was telling a lot of you guys, if you want to just save it as a JPEG, that's fine, but just know that you should, obviously for print purposes, this is the file format that you would need. It just makes a really big, huge file whenever you're done. So from a JPEG to a TIFF, it's going to be a much larger file size. So I'm going to click OK. Click OK. See, it says it will increase in size. But this is what you need to do, if you're working on a project for print. Go back to your InDesign, and you're just going to replace that. So you could do it in 2 ways. You could either replace it within the document, or you could just double click on that little question mark, and then go ahead and go find it, what you saved. Where did I save mine at? There it is. It's a TIFF file. Showing up as my TIFF file. Hold on 1 second. Make sure I save this correctly. Oh, it's going to my week 2. I'll just put my desktop. Okay. All right. So just double click on that little question mark. Should be there now on my desktop. Where is it? It's driving me crazy. It's actually not showing. Let me hide this a sec here. Try it one more time. I'm losing my mind here, people. I swear I saved it on my desktop. It's not showing up there. Okay, let's try this again. One more time. Nope, it's not showing there. It's really weird. Okay, something's going on. All right, so let me go ahead and save as. I'm going to rename this Sunset TIFF file. It's going right, for some reason, it's going into not into the folder that I want it to be. Oh, because my scratch discs are full. All right, that's probably why. All right, so we'll put in week 2, assignment 2 images, see if that works. It's a really big file. Yeah, see, it's not even saving, it's really big. Let's see if I can save as. Let's do my Google Drive. Yeah, see, now I got stuff going on with my scratch disk. So much memory. But in any case, all you need to really do is double click on there. You should be able to find that TIFF file, which, it's giving me problems right now, so I can't do it. And go ahead and relink it. Just go ahead and click open, it'll relink it. My scratch disks are full. I need to do some cleaning out on my computer, apparently, and I didn't realize that. But it makes it a bigger file. So a lot of you guys who are saying, oh, I can't, for some reason it's taking forever to upload, that's probably why. So I would, in your case, and I'm telling you this, so you're allowed to do it. You can export, just as long as you know the right process. Go ahead and save it as a JPEG so we have a more compressed image to deal with and a less, huge file whenever you're submitting your work. Go ahead and format as a JPEG. Just know that, see, that's even full, that's not really the right way to go for your full res, high res print, sending off to the printer. I'm just experiencing some errors on my computer here that's not allowing me to show you guys that. But it's probably a difference between, 160 megabyte file versus like 8 megabit file. So it is a big difference, especially when you're trying to upload it to Canvas. When you're sending it to a printer, they have, obviously more space for files that you are more high res. So you usually don't have to worry about that because in their system, if you're sending, your packaged file to them, their system is capable to handle the bigger files. Sorry, I couldn't go into full demo there, but hopefully you kind of understood kind of what to do in terms of what to pay attention to. So just check for missing fonts and missing links. Check for all bleeds and marks. Make sure everything is good to go. We have some people that aren't quite bleeding out the images on their layouts when they should be, so just kind of make sure you're paying attention to that. Actually, that's a good idea, Roxanne. She said if it's easier for you guys and myself, you can make a comment in your message area of your submission that you have converted it to a JPEG instead of a TIFF due to the size. And that's good, because then at least I know you're mindful of the process. Yeah, see, that's the issues there, yep. And like in the real world, the printer will not have any issues. But since we're all, working on a system that is limited, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on to that system. We just kind of have to work in a different way, unfortunately. But as long as you guys are aware of what you need to do, is where, that's most important for me. Just getting into that habit. It's just weird to work backwards. So, okay, but that's a great idea, Roxanne. You definitely can do that. Spell check. You guys know how to do spell check in InDesign? It's pretty easy. I don't know if I showed this to you before, so let me go ahead and do that. All right, so spell check is in your edit settings up on the menu bar, and you choose spelling, check spelling. And then what it'll do is it'll just kind of skip through words that, may be spelled right for purposes of a website or, maybe a name of a business, just skip them, and when everything's good, just hit done or restart. They'll give you suggested changes too, if need be. Okay. Or you can, you can do a spell check in Word before placing your all of your info in, which is a great idea. So just make sure you're doing the spell check before you place any copy, either in Word, the file given, or in the program that you're working in. Colors, make sure all mixed colors are CMYK, including colors from imported files. No, I just got booted out there. Sorry, guys. What the heck's going on with my system today? So just make sure you're paying attention to your color modes. Identify and remove all unnecessary colors from the swatch panel. You can delete those unnecessary swatches. Go ahead and just click on them and hit the little delete trash can. Add unnamed colors to the swatch panel using the swatch contextual menu. And spot colors should be converted to CMYK. Spot colors are identified as spot colors with a dot. We just looked at that. So just preparing it for print. Links, look at images specs from the links panel. That was brought up, and I was a little slow going on this slide, right? So we looked at the links panel here. Make sure images are in CMYK mode. To change the mode from RGB to CMYK, you will need to do this in Photoshop, just how I showed you. All Photoshop images should be 300 pixels per inch at actual printed size. Effective pixels per inch, as shown in the links panel, should be at least 300, but not much bigger. Photoshop images should be saved as TIFF, PSD, or JPEG. Try to eliminate layers from your TIFF file, and then use an LZW compression to make the file size smaller. Only use PSD when necessary, so transparencies, technical blends, masks. If you have stuff going on like that, you might need to use a PSD instead. Fonts, make sure all fonts are free of any problems in the Find Font box. Convert trouble fonts to outlines. We will do a demo of this. That you can do more so in Illustrator, pretty easy. Bleeds and marks, make sure any item that needs to bleed off the page extends 1/8 off the document, so 0.125. When exporting as PDF, make sure bleeds are set to at least a 1/8 in the marks and bleeds section after clicking Save when exporting as a Adobe PDF. And then make sure all printer marks are selected. Do not use the default document settings. You guys were playing around with that with your poster as well as your trifold. Package the InDesign file and then zip it. Some of you guys had issues with this. Some of you guys did great. Make sure your document is saved, then go to File and Package. We did a demo of this before. This creates a new folder where a copy of your InDesign file is placed along with a folder containing your fonts and another folder containing your links. Create a PDF and place it into your package folder. You can always click on the PDF too when you're selecting things that you want included into your package folder. PDF is there in there as well. So the only way you can customize it though, say if you want to put bleeds, preset it for press settings, you'll need to do it separately, and that's why this step is included in here. So what you would do is just go in InDesign, File and Export, and make sure the preset is on press settings for your PDF, and make sure your printer marks are selected, and the bleeds are set to 1/8 minimum. Number 3, now zip the package folder, which also contains your PDF, by selecting the name in the Finder and go to File and compress the file name. This creates a file with the same name as your folder, but with a zip extension. This is the file that you will upload into Canvas for the assignment. It is also what you will send to printers via email when sending a job to the press. Not all printers take packaged or zipped files either. Some of them will just say, hey, send over a high-res PDF. Just kind of give you a heads up. Some printers are different than others. All right, so your assessment for, which really is your assignment for here, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Does anybody have any questions before I go forward while I'm talking here? Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, I'm going to go back to your week 4. And we'll take a look at your discussion here in a minute, but since we're still talking about our assignment, let's go ahead and go in there. So this is your final campaign press ready project. Go ahead and read through the background here. Just kind of talks about how, when you're at the end of your process here of creating all your files for print, kind of what to take a look at. It also talks about LZW compression. You guys are discussing that this week as well, so you might want to read through that. Okay, the prompt. This assignment is to prepare you for the correct way to send files to printers. The design revisions you received from your instructor would be what a client may tell you. So they must be fixed before sending it to press, or it will be very expensive to reprint for the designer. Look at your instructor feedback on the technical issues and fix anything that was noted. Learning what needs to be sent to the printer correctly the first time will save you time and money. If your files are not set up correctly, the printer can fix them, but they will charge you, and it will be in addition to the bid, so you will have to pay for those fixes, not your client. So for this final assignment, you must incorporate design and technical revisions per my feedback on the following projects from this mod. So your week 2 poster, week 3 brochure, and week 3 signage. Pre-press requirements, poster and brochure. All images converted to the correct color model. Okay, so make sure they're all CMYK. All images placed at correct resolution for print. So those should be at 300 pixels per inch. What if our week's logo had different colors due to the images? They all have to be the same colors. Your logo should have CMYK colors that you chose for it. I guess I'm a little confused about your question. Oh, you mean as far as like from your past submission? So you're saying like week 2, you created your 2 different color schemes, and then it changed in week 3 based on your image. So if that's the case, Roxanne, if you guys changed your color scheme based on the brochure or the poster, go back to your original logo color scheme and change that to correctly reflect that. So your presentation, it all kind of makes sense. Does that make sense, Roxanne? And Tasha, while she's answering, you're just going to go back to your week 2 poster, and you're going to just go pre-press and just check off all of these things and any changes that need to be made. Then you're going to go to your week 3 brochure. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to make sure all the images are converted to the correct color model, resolution is correct, everything bleeds are good, margins, and then any changes maybe to the elements, maybe stylistically, that I gave suggestions to. Then you're going to go to your signage and do the same thing, just pre-press it. Does that make sense? So you're not really doing anything new unless you have to redo the assignment. Yep. You're just kind of pre-pressing to see if everything's correctly done for print. So kind of in your mind, you've been working on these pieces for a client, and now you're ready to send it off to the printer. This is kind of where you're at in the process. So you're just going to go through the process of double checking and doing any type of revisions that need to be made since your last critique. Bleeds correctly implemented, all images saved with appropriate file type, images not scaled above or below industry standard, margins and gutters properly positioned, and then that's for a poster and brochure. And your signage, logo and text colors correctly set for spot color output. Aspect ratio for enlarging is correct. All elements are properly created to be fully scalable for enlargement. Okay, when you're ready to go, number one, poster and brochure, you're going to create a package for print, file out of InDesign. Number two, poster and brochure, you're going to create a press quality. So that's the next, you'll just do a save as at that point and do a press quality PDF. Make sure you have all your marks and bleeds ready to go. Okay, so I'll show you here 1 and 2. Let me open up my poster. Now my image here is missing and I can't, for some reason, my computer, I need to do restart, and I'm not going to do that right now. But let's just pretend I don't have a missing file link here, and everything looks good. I already checked my resolution and my color mode, and I tried to, swap out my image here. I couldn't, but at that point, just pretend like I did. So you're just going to go to File, Package, and it'll tell you right here if you have any issues with links, image, fonts, and right here it says links. So it's telling me right here. And this is another great way to check. So if you go to links and images, if you don't have the proper, I say this is not converted to CMYK, it's RGB, it's going to tell you that right here. It'll also tell you the status. So right now, this one's missing, so I'd have to obviously go and fix that. But for the purposes of going forward here, I'm just going to click package and pretend like that is good. And I'm not sure if this is going to allow me to save this, but go ahead and select where you want to save it. I would say don't include the PDF at this point, just hit package. We're going to go ahead and do that as a second step here. Yeah, that's where you have to go take your image back into Photoshop and convert it to CMYK if it's showing like that in InDesign. So we made the package file. That's already ready to go. So second step, number 2, we're going to save as press quality PDF. And just some things to kind of take note in here. You want to make sure that in the marks and bleeds that you have crop marks and bleeds checked. And then you can choose, select this option down here. It says use document bleed settings because we want to use it based on your document. Click export. When you're ready to go, let me share my desktop so I can show you exactly what's going on here. Hide all my stuff. So here's my folder. This is the package folder. So that's my InDesign file, my links, my fonts. That's all ready to go. And then that PDF, which you could just plop right into that folder. It was that press quality PDF that's in there. You can open it up and check it out too before you send it in. See how the bleeds are showing. Looks good. And then you're going to zip this. So you can either go up to select the folder and go up to File, Compress, or you can do an option, Control click and choose Compress. And this is the zipped file that you would submit. Okay, so that's for the poster and brochure. So I just showed you the poster. You would do the same thing for the brochure. Signage, you're working in Illustrator, so you would just open that up in Illustrator, and you're going to save that out as a press quality file, PDF. I'll open that up in a second here. You're going to create a folder named DES114 DES114 assignment 4, first and last name. You're going to place all the files from 1 to 3 in the folder you create in step 4. Okay, so this could get a little tricky. So basically you're just saying, you're going to place your zipped file that you created here. So your zipped file, you're going to plop that into a new folder named this. So you're going to have 1 through 3, all these files here in this new folder. And then you're going to zip that again. It's kind of crazy, right? I'll show you here in a second. Let me open up a signage example here. Okay, so I'm an illustrator. Here's my sign. If I need to make any corrections, I definitely can do that. Check your colors. Everything looks good. I think I'm using spot colors in here. These are actually CMYK. So I'd have to change these to spot color. So I would just choose that color, shift select all of that and go to spot colors. All right, I might have to go check on my doggy here. Give me 1 second, you guys. All right, decided to have a paper party here. Okay, so you're going to double click on, if this is, this should be Pantone, your signage. So go ahead and double click on this little square, has the CMYK tones. And then what we're going to do is choose spot color here where it says color type. Let's see here. If we don't have to worry about this, let's just leave this here. To my library. Okay, click OK. And once you do that, you'll notice now it'll say the same CMYK name, but now it is a Pantone color. So there it is right there with a little dot next to it. So that's how you would convert that. Same with this one. Double click, spot. There we go. So you know how to do that. It's good to kind of show you that before we go forward here. So I'm just going to change this back to Pantone. Okay. Then we're going to save this as, we'll just save it. And then we'll go to File, Save As. A PDF. Let's put this on the desktop if we can for now. And we want to do a press quality. Now, we don't really have any bleeds here. If you had, this is a good thing to point out, if you had like a background color, see mine's like white, so I don't have nothing really bleeding off. I don't have to worry about setting my bleeds here. You could do trim marks, I guess, but I don't really have any bleeds to worry about. But if you have a color, like a block of color in the background that goes to the trim edge, you're going to want to choose in your marks and bleed settings, use, trim marks, or it should be checked, and use document bleed settings. Save PDF. Okay, so that's part of that. And the PDF, once it's done, definitely check it out. See if you did it correctly. Let me see if I can open it up here. There we go. At least you can see what it looks like with the the bleed marks here, the trim marks. So that's what would be trimmed. So the printer would just trim it right where those trim marks are. Okay. Okay, so that's that part. And then, so what you would do is just create a folder, and you're going to dump all of that into your this folder. Okay, so I'll show you that here in a second. Let me go to my desktop. So this folder, this is from the first 2 steps that we did, but I only have the poster in here. I don't have the brochure because we didn't do the brochure. This is assessment 2. Okay, we don't have to worry about that. Assessment 2 images. So what they're basically saying in this assignment instructions, go ahead and create a new folder. DES114 assignment 4. If it's like just your last name or your first and your last. And you're just going to plop, I'm going to plop this zip file in here. I'm not going to worry about putting this folder in, and then this in here. Okay, because this basically, what this zip file is what this is going on in that folder. Okay. And then you're going to zip this one. So you're going to go File, Compress. It's a little confusing, but that's the steps there. Okay. Any questions about that? Just a lot of zipping, compressing. So you're basically just putting 1 through 3 into this folder. If you don't place the zipped folder from 1 to 2, that's fine. If you just place the folder in there, you won't get in trouble. It's just a good way to like compress everything together. Then you're going to zip that folder and upload the zip file. And it says here, note, if the zip is too large for Canvas to upload, place the PDF into the package folder and zip each one separately. The sign would have the PDF and AI compressed together. The name would be DES114 Assignment 4 Poster. So it would be separate. You would just do all separate ones. DES Assignment 4 Brochure, DES Assignment Signage. So just zipping each and every one of those separately. See what works. Create friendly JPEGs of your campaign and upload them to Behance site. Email your FPA and link to the project and CC me on that. So you just go back to your poster, for instance. Let me bring that up. Actually, let's start here with the signage since I already have it open. And I would say, yeah, just go. I'm going to start with the signage since we just opened that up. Go ahead and go Save As. And then you're going to save this as, or not save as, sorry, File, Export as a JPEG. You're going to save this. I'm going to save it to the desktop. CMYK is perfectly fine. And that's all you need to do for the signage part. Okay. Roxanne's writing a chat in here about how her power is going out. No problem, no problem. So that's the signage. Now, if I wanted to do, say, the brochure, let's see what else I have here. Okay, so I want to go back to InDesign. And let me share that. So that's the signage is good. So now we have to save this as. So I'm going to export and design my poster. Resolution, you can keep this at 72, by the way, just as long as your quality is at maximum. RGB is fine because we're going to be posting this in your Behance. So it's going to be all viewed on screen for these JPEGs. Okay, and then let me open up my brochure. Some of my stuff is not showing, like some of my fonts are messed up here, but just for the sake of showing you guys, I would just go to save, export and JPEG. Desktop's fine. This is all great. Export's good. The second page isn't done yet for this one. Make sure everything's done. What else do we have? We have our poster. I think that's it. All right, so then you would go to your Behance site. Let me get that open here because I didn't have this open on my end. Last step of the process here, once everything's exported out as a JPEG, you're going to sign into your Behance site, and hopefully you have one by now. Give me 1 second here. It's asking me to verify my account, my password, and all that good stuff. I had to reset my phone over the weekend because it was acting goofy. So I have to reset all my passwords. All right, here we go. Somebody just chatted something here and I missed it. Hold on 1 second. Do all of our logos have to be the same color palette? I use different colors each week. They should be consistent, so I would say yes. So choose a color theme that works the best. If you're reversing it out in white because it's not working over dark, that's fine. You could use that variation with your color variation. That makes sense. Yeah, I would keep it consistent. If it's totally different colors, you know, it's not just the white, that's going to look kind of strange. So make sure it's consistent. So you might have to, yeah, go back and redo that. Create a project here. Go to upload files, and then where you saved all your JPEGs, go ahead and upload those JPEGs. Some of mine were completely done, so I'm going to start out with the sign first. Okay, that one was not converted to RGB, but that's fine. We'll just leave it. I'm just going to upload the front of the brochure, but you should have the front and the back, or inside, I should say. Outside, inside. But this is kind of what it's going to look like once you do upload it, although you're going to have another page for this. Now, this is what you probably shouldn't see, because see how my logo changes to this color? It's because I'm showing a different demo from a different example. So this logo should be the same color as this. This is the same color, so that's fine. So it all should look like it goes together. So this would have to be changed. Then you would click save and go through all of your options. I'm not going to click save because that's not quite right from the start of my logo here, so I don't want to confuse anybody. But that is number 7 step. And then you're going to send that link. Does everybody know how to get that link from Behance once you're done? Okay, so maybe I should click OK. All right, let's just pretend this aqua logo looks great and I have 2 pages of my brochure in here. We're gonna hit continue. It's gonna ask you for a thumbnail. I can zoom in on this here. Zoom in on one. And this is what's gonna show in your Behance site. And you can give it a project title, either a class name. You can put aqua excursion. Trying to think of what aqua excursion project. Just keep it simple. Crop and continue. You can add creative fields in here if you want. I think you're only allowed to have 3. So go ahead and pick those. I would say this is obviously more. Just go through all of the different options here. Advertising, I think there's a graphic design one too, just a very simple one. Yeah, we're just going to do that. Click done. You could do kind of like branding. I don't see branding on there. Tools used. Obviously we use a lot of the Adobe Creative Suite software, so we're just going to do Adobe Creative Suite. Co-owners, you could just ignore all that and then hit publish. It's going to publish your work on your site, and then it's going to give you a link. This is the link right here. And you're going to copy that. So Command C once you highlight it, and that's the link that you send to your FPA. Tell them who you are. Say, hey, this is Roxanne Bowman. I'm taking DES114. We're doing an aqua excursion project. Here is my link to Behance. Can you just take a quick look and let me know what you think? And then do the link. But before you send it, make sure you CC me on that, okay? So that I have a carbon copy of you doing that, because that's part of your, you're welcome. That's part of your evaluation, is whether or not you did go through that. Now, let's say you accidentally skipped that part of the link. You can always go back in here once you do publish it and choose promote on top of your project, and that'll give you the same link here. If, by chance you wanted to change anything, you can change it here. You can edit it. You can even delete it. It would be deleted or edited depending on what your wishes are. Oops. You're welcome. So, there's a lot of kind of mishmashing some things. So it gets a little tricky when you're putting files together. But this is all what kind of the process that you need to do to get prepared for print. Your packaging, your zipping. So make sure you're paying attention to these fine details. Any questions about any of that? None? Okay. All right, so let's go right into, good. Don't forget, I will be around tomorrow for open lecture the same time. It's our last multi-session. It's not mandatory, but if you guys have questions, have issues, that's a good time to meet me in there. I'll be logged in and working on grading and all that while I'm waiting for you guys to pop in for any questions. So just to let you know. What time since I can finally see. Okay, so let's show you where that's at. So if you go to where you kind of went into the live session area here, all the times are listed here for your multi-session right here. And that's just on Wednesdays. If you are Mountain Time, you start at 9:30. If you're Eastern Time like me, it'd be 11:30. So same time frame that we have lectures, just on, that's just every Wednesday. Okay. And just so you guys know, you probably saw this already. If you go to announcements, okay. Well, I'm Eastern time, so yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania. I did post something yesterday about the differences between file formats. That's very interesting. You might want to check out. It's like a little quick video here. Just explains the differences between JPEG, TIFF files, and PNG files and GIF. So it's very it's useful, especially with your discussion this week, and just kind of understanding why you would use which file type, what the purposes of each one are. Okay. Changing course here. Don't forget, you should be submitting your discussion for initial post before midnight tomorrow. This kind of covers lossy versus lossless images. Go right to the prompt here. So go ahead and read through this background, just a little synopsis of understanding what lossy and lossless compression. There's a little 4-minute video here too. So the prompt is, you are once again working with a client from week 3. You've gotten the job and have recreated your logo as a vector file. You're now ready to move on to work on brochures, billboards, and more. The owner of the company points you to their website once again for assets, telling you that the website is the only place they have photos to use. For your initial post, please address the following questions. Number 1, will these photos work for the projects you have been hired to do? Why or why not? 2, how do you explain your dilemma to the client? And 3, how does lossy and lossless compression figure into this? So for your citation, you might use articles that describe what the differences are with these two compressions, print versus web, and color, or which file type is best for which job. Don't forget, when you're looking at your fellow students' discussion posts, discuss the effectiveness of their response. You might consider addressing questions as what points came across well and which needs further explanation. What might help clarify their points? Can you share resources that you found in your research that might help to clarify a point? So what you might want to do is kind of click on the video just to read through the background, kind of get a little bit more knowledge of what the differences are there. You might even read my information on the announcement that I just showed you, because that gives you a good idea of different file formats and their purposes before answering this. So the key thing is that you've gotten the job and have recreated their logo as a vector file. You are now ready to move on to work on brochures, billboards, and more. The owner of the company points you to their website once again for assets, telling you that website is the only place they have photos to use. So the website is not a website like a stock photography website, right? Where you can download high-res, large images. We're talking, he's directing you to the website, the business website, where you're just going to drag and drop the images already used in the website of their business. So when doing that, think about the issues that you might have, because what do you use in a website for imagery? Lower res, right? We use 72 dots per inch. The color mode's different. It's a smaller image size. So if they're saying this is the only images that you can use, if you have to use these images on a billboard, what's your problem? What's the issue going to be? And how do you talk to the client about that issue? And I'm telling you guys, this problem will come up more often than not. So this is a really good discussion to have. I've had many, many, many clients come to me and say, oh, you can get the images off our website. No, 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 no. That's just not how we do it. You kind of have to educate them a little bit, in a very professional way, and tell them why it won't work. Try to get the original images for sake of resolution, quality of image. So you can talk about all that. I actually did have a client say they gave me a very low res JPEG small logo, and they wanted me to put on a billboard in Ohio. Exactly. Yep, you don't want to say it in a way where you're making them feel like idiots. But, you know, there's reasons why they hire you. So, you know, just kind of, you don't want to just say, okay, and then do this really, you know, they're going to be unhappy because the images are going to look like really bad. And then they're going to point the finger at you and say, well, I gave you the website, you said okay. So if you don't stand up for yourself at that point and say, hey, this isn't going to work, you need to get me original images or high-res images, then this is what's going to happen. So, any other questions about the discussion? It's a good discussion to have. Okay. All right, good. You might even show examples. You might find some examples of people who have had that issue with, you know, maybe the billboard, all the pixels, images are pixelated because, you know, the client gave them the wrong file and the designer didn't really do anything, or maybe the client even designed it. You know, there's a lot of that going on with, you know, technology and programs being very accessible. But we are here to fix bad design. So, you know, it's important for us to get that point across to the client when we can. Okay, so don't forget your discussion. That's the last one of this week. Don't forget the assignment we just went over. Your assessment is a quiz. And this quiz is 35 points. There's no time limit. And you can see it's based on your readings, videos, and classwork you completed this mod. And this is the objectives that it covered, pretty much stuff that we went over in the last 4 weeks of this class. There's 11 questions, and a lot of the information comes from course media. So make sure you're checking out required readings and videos and articles in here that will help you, you know, answer any of the ones that you're unsure of. Okay, and it all adds up. So make sure you're taking your time, you know, answering that. Career integration, make sure you're taking that every end of mod. We have the graded quiz, and this is basically to get you to talk about your reflection of this course in particular substantially, so that you can get a nice idea of where you came from the start to finish. Maybe things that you need to work on, things that you didn't think you were going to learn that you learned, your favorite projects. It's kind of a good way to reflect back on what you've accomplished, or maybe not accomplished. Every designer does this after a project, you know, reflecting back on what they could have improved upon, things that they've learned in the project. Maybe there were mistakes that happened that they didn't think of, and, you know, they're reflecting back of how they could fix this the next time. So this is a good way to kind of reflect back on this class and your projects in this class. All right. With that being said, I think that's all I have in my, let me see if I have any more slides here. Oh, no, I don't. So that's it. That's all for my slides. Does anybody have any questions or want to go over anything so far that you're unclear of, had questions about? And like I said, if I have not reviewed your work yet, say if you submitted your last week work and I have not graded it yet, just kind of hold tight. I'm getting through those today and tomorrow as fast as I can. I think there's just a handful of you I need to get to. So, okay. And like I said, I'll be here tomorrow at this time slot, same time slot. So if you're, you know, kind of plugging away at this last project here and you have questions, or say if you go back to your your past projects to try to correct something and it's not working, or you had questions, come on in. I'll be just kind of hanging out. So feel free to pop in and ask me. We can share your screen and take a look at what you're doing, and I can help guide you. All right. Thank you guys for being patient with me. It's been a crazy couple weeks. My daughter was sick last week, and I had to finagle some things with the lecture. I appreciate your patience. And then this week, my goodness, everybody's gone back to school, and it's just been a busy, 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 busy month. And I'm sure you guys, can empathize with me, and you guys are probably going through similar stuff. But thank you guys for coming in, and it's been a pleasure knowing all of you and working with all of you, and I'm just excited to see what your final projects look like. Please keep in touch. I will post, thank you guys. I will post a little thank you with my contact information if you want to stay in touch. I'll, just kind of keep an eye out for announcements later this week. I'll post that. Okay. All right. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe not. If not, I'll see you in the discussion boards. All right, guys. Have a good day. Thank you.
Hi.
They might all be gone now.
Hola.
Just muted you. Your son wants to say hi. Go ahead. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
How old are you?
I'm the 6-year-old who made that awesome poster.
Oh, that was a different. You're 7 now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm 7 now.
Oh, wow. So your mommy's teaching you, huh?
He likes to do design work. He's really good at it.
That's awesome. You're raising him right.
Bye.
Well, nice to hear you, and keep studying with your mama.
Okay.
Okay.
Aw, have a good day, you guys. Thanks for saying hello.